Hey everyone, it's Josh. I know it has been inexcusably long since the last team's recap. Things have been obviously busy. A week away for MVP Summit in Redmond. Following week was Enterprise Connect, and it's just been insane on the Enterprise Connect front. And the news has not stopped pouring out in the team's world since then. So all the more reason why I should have been on top of things and on top of doing the show, but it is what it is for now. I'm catching up. We're getting there. Hopefully, things will slow down a bit. Conferences not happening all the time, and we can keep up as things really ramp up towards the middle of the year. As you can see today, I do not have a guest host with me. Not because didn't want one, but just because there was so much stuff to cover that I figured it would be best if I kind of ran through it as fast as I can, and even then, it's going to take a while. So hopefully, for the next episode, we'll have another guest host on and get back to that way of doing things. Not a big deal for today. Um, we are at the very end of Q1, almost at the very end. We're midway through March, and Q1 is right around the corner. And that leaves us with one more quarter before the first half of the year is done, and that's when we're supposed to be pretty much at feature parity with Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business Online. That's a big deal. Well, that leaves some of the more enterprise voice-like features and functionality to creep out toward the end of 2018. So let's go over some of what's happened there. Um, one first thing I'll point out, I'm not sure if the audio is any different today or not, but as you'll see, I'm not using my Plantronics 5200 today. I am taking the Plantronics Voyager 6200 UCs. I'm taking this headset for a spin on the team's recap for the first time. So feedback, thoughts, much appreciated. I figured it was a good candidate to try on the show, given that it doesn't encroach upon the hat space, the all important hat space. So we're giving that a shot today. Let me know what your thoughts are and how you felt it came across. Okay, let's switch gears over to the infinity screen, and here we go. So here's what we're starting with. Obviously, this last week, Enterprise Connect 2018. And one of the big deals there was Microsoft Teams was celebrating its 1 year anniversary, or birthday, as some may have preferred to put it. And I wanted to share a picture here from Heidi Gludemans over on the Microsoft Teams product group. She shared this picture of Lori Wright, GM over at the product group there, with the Best of Enterprise Connect 2018 award. Huge congratulations to the entire team over there. Very well deserved. They were competing against some pretty cool product innovations around the Enterprise Connect showroom floor. So to walk away with the award, I mean, I have to say, and this is not because Microsoft UC is my bread and butter. I gotta say, Microsoft really stole the show this year. They did an amazing job, both on their keynote and on the innovations they brought to the table. It was a big year for them. So exciting to be there for all of that. Uh, anyway, let's move past this to a blog post that was released this last Monday out on the blogs.office.com site. All right. This was again shared by Lori Wright. And here we're talking about the fact that we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary. Microsoft Teams turns one and advances that whole vision for intelligent communications. There's going to be a bit more marketing stuff in here that I'm going to skip over. And some of these pieces I'm going to go into a bit more detail on a subsequent post here. But um, the things that were being announced as coming later this year, they're not saying, hey, this stuff is all here, but they're saying coming later this year. And a lot of the stuff might actually be coming, before the end of Q2. Some of it might be a little longer, but um, the first one, cloud recording, we knew about this. We knew about recording our meetings and having the automatic transcription and encoding, the ability to search and read through those captions. That's still coming and right around the corner here, hopefully. So very exciting there. But some of these other things are new features that we didn't really realize were on the roadmap yet. So inline message translation, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's as exciting as it sounds when it comes to different languages within a thread. Cortana voice interactions for Teams-enabled devices. If you did not see this demoed on stage at Enterprise Connect, very impressive. Picking up the handset on a physical device and asking Cortana to place a call to a certain person. Boom, it's done. That was slick. I like seeing that, and I'm excited to see that come out. A similar thing was demoed at the Polycom booth with Alexa uh, placing a call. So very, very cool stuff. Background blur and video. That's a pretty new thing to come to most of us. So we had someone show on stage a live meeting in Teams. They were asked to blur their background because it was a distracting background, and they did. And it was a pretty cool live demo of background blurring in action. So pretty awesome thing there. Proximity detection for Teams meetings. So a feature that's going to make it easier or easy for you to discover and add a nearby and available Skype room system to any meeting. So let's say you walk into a room, you're on a Teams meeting, it's going on right now. That's great. You can go and look up a Skype room system and add them to a meeting that's already in flight, and then you've got all the functionality of that room system in your meeting and ready to go. Mobile sharing in meetings, this is kind of cool. Obviously, it's going to be, particular use cases, but mobile has been getting more and more impressive. Mobile attendees are able to view content now and take part in a meeting in greater detail. Well, soon they're going to be able to share a live video stream or photos or the screen from their mobile device. I mean, this is taking mobility in meetings to a new level. I'm excited to see that coming. There literally is going to be almost no place that we cannot conduct work from. This is pretty cool. So they also mentioned direct routing, which we're going to get to in a second. That's a pretty big deal there. And then we talk about intelligent communications for your devices. We're going to get into devices in a minute as well, but there was all kinds of innovation on display on the expo floor when it came to collaboration devices, room systems, connecting to existing equipment, your desktop and conferencing phones, a lot happening there. And then mobile phone stations from Plantronics. Super excited about that, and I'll talk about that in a second. This other post I'm going to share. You can read through the rest of this article at your own leisure. Read about some success stories from customers. This little sheet at the bottom has some pretty incredible facts to read. 200,000 organizations are using Teams at the 1-year anniversary mark. 181 Teams users, 181 markets across the globe for Teams users. In the past year, 3 million Teams were added. Read through this, some really impressive stats for 1 year in. This was a post by Lori Wright, again, GM over on the Microsoft Teams and Skype team over there. So good post, Lori. Jumping over to direct routing, or if I'm from the UK, we've had a few conversations about these with some MVP colleagues recently. Routing, some direct routing, but I'm going to go back to direct routing. That's where I'm most comfortable. So as we go down and we look at some of this overview here, what is direct routing? Well, it is the ability to look at this right here. Direct routing. We've got a Microsoft Teams phone system up in the cloud, all your users using Teams and calling. Well, instead of going through Microsoft for their calling provider using phone system, these Teams users are connecting via the internet down to the customer infrastructure. They're connecting directly to the certified session border controller where there are phone number ranges defined. And then there is a SIP trunk, presumably from that SBC out to the SIP provider or whatever the other type of trunk might be that they're using. Notice what you don't see in this picture. You don't see any on-prem Skype for Business components, including a CCE device. So this is what direct routing is going to be, the ability to connect Teams directly to your session border controller and out to your SIP trunk provider. That's going to be pretty incredible. That is coming soon. They are targeting, as they say here, the end of Q2 2018 for general availability. And there are a lot of people that are super excited about seeing this finally land. Now, one of the big questions are, will this be available for Skype for Business Online? No, it will not as of this time. That's not the plan. The plan is for this to be a Teams only thing. Skype for Business Online will continue to use that CCE methodology if they don't have Skype for Business on-prem. Who can you get these services through? Which SBCs will be certified for this? And as we go down, we see they're going to start with Audio Codes, Ribbon Communications, formerly Sonus, and then ThinkTel. Their plan is to continue to evaluate SBC vendors and certify as needed. Very important step to know. Important to note that direct routing or routing is designed to work with Teams. If you are on Skype for Business Online, you should continue to use CCE or connect via the on-premises SFB pool, OPCH, for their SIP trunk connection needs. All right, there you go. Pretty awesome stuff. That is direct routing. I'll go back up top really quick just to point out here a quick overview. Here is your Office 365 box. You've got phone system within there. You've got Teams within there. And your options for your Teams users on phone system are to either go through the Microsoft calling plans or to go through this upcoming direct routing and Teams. Awesome. Now, Tom Arbuthnot, fellow MVP over at Modality, he has put together, as he always does, an excellent blog post that gives a good high-level overview of some of these major announcements with really rich pictures in here. Tom, you did a great job on this post. Thank you. You make my job so much easier on these things. First things first, this picture has generated a lot of buzz. It was very warmly accepted on stage at the Microsoft keynote, and all kinds of conversations happening on the floor afterwards. The Plantronics, when I went up to their booth, they don't have this on demo yet, but they said they were getting all kinds of inquiries about it. And apparently this will be available in the fall sometime, tentatively. But look at this. This is a cradle, a dock with a Microsoft Teams device. You've got your phone right there, docked and cradled into this device, sitting on your desk, and it's got the Teams interface on it. We've got a headset sitting there charging, and then we've got your regular dial pad. So this is like a handset almost on your desk. You've got your regular dial pad and that feel of it, but instead of having an actual phone there, this is used when you take your mobile device with Teams on it and cradle it into the device. And then you can place calls just like you would with a hand. It's the best of both worlds. It lets you be on the go with your device charging on the set, while also giving those that still need that physical handset feel, giving them that experience still. Again, very warmly received on stage. As we switch down here, Tom does a great job at giving the links here. You can watch the Microsoft keynote here if you want to see this stuff in action. Now, this picture, we're going to go into that again as we get down below. IP phones and conference room phones. Tom is great at giving credit where credit is due. He thanked Henry here for all these great pictures from the different devices. Some of these were from the actual vendor booths themselves. Others were from the Microsoft booth where they had all these devices on display behind a glass case. We can see here we've got our Audio Codes device. We've got Yealink in here, the Yealink CP960, Crestron Mercury, and the Polycom Trio. All these devices all displaying the Microsoft Teams interface on them. Teams interface, every single one of these devices. That's not GA, but that is what's coming. And I must say, from seeing it in person, it was a very slick, familiar experience. Forward to that. Now this mobile phone station, back to this, from Plantronics. Mobile dock that provides a speakerphone, a physical dial pad, and the headset. All right, so you can go to speakerphone, or you can pick up that headset and put it on and be working through this device. The first device to be shown obviously was from Plantronics, and obviously, like he says, you know he'll be chasing them for review unit for the blog. Stay tuned. Tom will not be the only one hounding them down, trying to get their grubby hands on this thing to dig in and review it and be one of the first ones out with their impressions on it. I would be lying if I said I haven't already started to knock on that door a little bit myself. So we'll see when it finally comes out. But pretty slick looking device. A couple features to call out: wireless charging, auto transfer Teams meeting to speaker or headset, and then Teams button to directly launch the Teams mobile app. I am excited to see this in action, but we'll leave it at that for now. There are no more details out on that. Polycom is very tight-lipped. Not Polycom, I'm sorry. Plantronics is very tight-lipped about this, as Microsoft, I'm sure, wants them to be. And we'll have to kind of wait for fall to get more details and that the release. Cortana voice interact was see demoed on stage. Um, all that was demoed here was they picked up the phone, they picked up the receiver on this handset, and they asked Cortana on the phone to place a call to a certain individual, and Cortana placed the call, and that was it. There was no dialing, there was no touching buttons, there was no touching the screen. The receiver was picked up, the word spoken, and Cortana placed the call. Really slick, very exciting to see. Can't wait to again play with that a bit. Here we see Cortana doing its thing, calling Delonda Coleman and uh, James Kay. Yeah, there we go. So I was joining that conference via Cortana. Very, very cool. And then adding a person to a Skype Room Systems meeting with Cortana. So a lot of cool things that are being done on the AI side of things with Cortana on these devices. Proximity detection, I touched on that from the last blog briefly, but essentially you go into a room with your laptop and a Teams-enabled meeting room system, and your laptop client is automatically going to know you're in a room with the Teams meeting room device and offer to add it to the meeting. Just streamlining your experience and making things easy for you. Mobile companion experience and mobile sharing in meetings. We talked a bit about that as well, but essentially the ability to control PowerPoint on your mobile phone, use your mobile camera to add that video feed into the meeting, and then sharing the screen of the mobile. Just a huge amount of flexibility there. Here we see an image of that blur effect on the background. We have Delonda Coleman on here. We saw this demoed on stage. She was asked to flip her background that we see there to blur, and she did, and there it is, live. Now, obviously, if you look around the edges, it's not 100%, but it does a great job blurring everything out for the most part without infringing upon the person in the foreground. So, pretty cool experience. I love this. Inline message translation in channels and chats. I love seeing this. We've got a conversation going on here that has multiple languages in it. We got English, we've got French, and I'm gonna, if I guessed which language it was down there, I would guess wrong and I would just look terrible. So I'm not gonna try it. But the big deal is here, we click on the options for one of these messages in a different language, and we click that translate button, and then look, from Francois Bernard here, we have that whole paragraph translated down into English. This is a big deal because this brings together teams more than just ones that are geographically dispersed, ones that may have language barriers. They are now able to chat with each other, and in line, it can be translated to provide for seamless communication between them. I'm sure there will be times where there will be some interesting things translated. Maybe the exact sentiment didn't come across. That's part of the whole AI journey, right? But for now, it is great to see that you can have people speaking different languages in a same team, and translation within those chats is available. So excited to play with that. Um, all right, and then some smaller announcements and updates. Really quickly, we'll touch on these. More details on the direct routing. Tom has a link to his own post on that right there. Cloud recording and transcription with jumping to keywords. We talked about that again. Very excited to see that actually hit GA. Skype broadcast integration coming to Teams. We knew that was on the roadmap. Whobot finding expertise. All Skype room systems are going to get that native Teams experience in a few months. Polycom, Pexip, and BlueJeans, they all demoed live standards-based video interop to Teams. So it's good to see that that's forthcoming here. Surface Hub joining Teams meetings natively coming soon. So they're within the Surface Hub, there's going to be a native Teams joining experience that is going to be coming pretty soon. People have been asking and wanting that for a while now. So glad to see that's coming to the hub. pre-meeting join experience, consult transfer, and then the Logitech Meetup new feature, auto person detection and framing Zoom. So someone else joins a room in a live meeting, the camera will zoom back out to include all the people in the room, not just the two that it was focusing in on, right? Pretty cool stuff. A couple more pictures he's got down here, that pre-meeting join experience. We see this is before the meeting's actually started. Teams is saying, here's your video. Do you want this? Yes or no. Audio, yes or no. And which device set up before you physically join that meeting. A little bit of cloud recording there. Recording playback with transcription and search. So here we go. A meeting that was finished being processed after recording. It's being played back now. We can fast forward through this at the very bottom down there, and then we can search for keywords within the meeting. Pretty cool experience. The search transcript. There we go. Delegate experience with an incoming call toast for Teams. Pretty cool to see that being displayed as well. Consult transfer within Teams. And then we got random trivia. You see in Mark's demo the Canary early version of the mobile app and Ring 0 of the desktop app. So pretty cool there. All right. Tom, again, tons of info. You did an amazing job putting this blog post together. I'm going to go ahead and thank you for doing that, and I won't attempt to reproduce that myself. We'll stick to video on this side of things. But let me flick back over to my video. Speaking of, if you stuck with me through this whole video, I appreciate it. Like I said, this is why I didn't have a co-host today. There was a lot to cover. There's so much new going on in Teams and so much more to come before the end of Q2 or the first half of 2018. So stay tuned. I will try to get more regular with this so that we can keep up with all these new features as they come and I don't have to do so many at once. But this last week or so has just been crazy, both on schedules, conferences, and news. So thanks for joining me. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please retweet, reshare. Otherwise, please virtually throw tomatoes at me and let me know how I can do better. Thank you guys. We'll see you back here for the next Teams recap. Adios.